Hi everyone, we're going to get started now. So good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our free Healthy at Work webinar series. My name is Jyoti Judgy. I'm a health promotion specialist from the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit in the Comprehensive Workplace Wellness Department. I will be today's moderator to help field any questions. Before we begin, just have a few housekeeping items to cover. So for audio, before we start, if you are having some difficulty hearing me, please double check your volume on your speakers is turned up. For questions, you can pose questions as you are listening, and our presenter will answer at the end of the presentation. If we cannot get to all of them today, we will send a link to all the questions and answers to everyone later on in the week. And after the webinar, we will also send out a link to the recording of the webinar. A short feedback survey will also be included at that time. So now I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Alicia Chan. Alicia Chan is a registered dietitian who also works at the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit in the Comprehensive Workplace Wellness Program. She obtained her undergraduate degree at Ryerson University in Food and Nutrition and completed her Master's of Public Health at the University of Toronto, specializing in community health. She provides nutrition support for the workplace team and is currently involved in the development of the Take Charge Workplace, a toolkit for workplaces to improve their nutrition environment. So now we thank Alicia for speaking with us today about Nutrition Month. I will now pass the mic over to you.
Thank you, Jyoti. And hi, everyone. Welcome to the Nutrition Month 2017 webinar series. My name is Alicia Chan, and as Jyoti mentioned, I am the Public Health Nutritionist at the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit's Comprehensive Workplace Wellness Department. Today, I'll be giving you a brief overview of Nutrition Month. As you may know, March is Nutrition Month, and every year, dietitians across Canada promote a different nutrition topic. This year, we want to help you to take the fight out of food. But what do I mean exactly to take the fight out of food? Eating should be joyful, but it can also be a source of everyday frustration and confusion for Canadians. Think about all of the different decisions you might make in a day. What are the best foods to buy, to prepare, to serve at mealtime, or to order at the restaurant for yourself or your family? It can for sure feel very overwhelming sometimes. And so today, I will offer a three-step approach to help you make informed decisions about food and nutrition. Using this three-step approach, I will be exploring 5 different topics that Canadians commonly have. These include food fads and nutrition misinformation, digestive health, picky eating, stress in eating, and finally, preventing or managing a chronic health condition, such as diabetes. First, I will begin by explaining the three-step approach. Step 1, spot the problem. What is your food, nutrition, or health question or concern? What have you always wondered about or struggled with? The first step is to identify what this is. For example, I might have a struggle with feeling tired in the morning because I skip breakfast when I'm in a rush. Or, for example, I might be someone who already has breakfast every morning, but I'm just looking for quick and easy ways to add variety to my morning routine. Now, once you have identified your question or issue, it is time to move to step 2, get the facts. Use facts from credible sources to decide what needs to be done. In step 2, we will go over the different tips and strategies for the common nutrition concerns, and then provide you with information from trustworthy sources to help you create a plan of action. To continue my breakfast example from before, I might start by reading more about why it's important to have breakfast in the morning, and to start looking for strategies to improve my morning routine so that I won't have to keep skipping breakfast and end up feeling tired for the rest of the day. I might also look up some easy recipes that I can prepare the night before, or look for recipes for something easy that I can whip up in the morning. And finally, once you have the facts that you need to make the plan, it's time to put the plan into action and change your behavior. In my breakfast example, it involves changing my morning routine to make room for breakfast. I might commit to sleeping earlier at night, or I might prepare the ingredients the night before to simplify my cooking process in the morning. And if I'm having trouble making these changes, it might be time for me to find extra help. For example, look for a dietitian. This is step 3, seek support. I might also get support from my family members, such as divvying up the responsibilities at breakfast time so that everyone has something to do and I'm not so rushed. For example, I could maybe get my sister to prepare the coffee in the morning while I'm making the omelet. Change isn't easy, but having the support from regulated healthcare professionals such as your doctor or your dietitian, family, coworkers, and friends can help you make the behavior changes and keep it up. And now that we know what the three-step approach is, let's apply it to some common nutrition questions and concerns that Canadians experience. Our first topic is food fads. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by all of the nutrition information that you hear about? Have you ever felt confused and not sure what information is credible and what should be ignored? For example, is this detox cleanse effective? Should you invest in the latest superfood or miracle supplement? Navigating around the vast amount of nutrition information can be very confusing as you try to make the best choices for you and your family. According to the Tracking Nutrition Trends report of 2015, 49% of Canadians get information on food and nutrition from the internet. And when it comes to the internet, even though there is a lot of good information out there, there are also many websites that advertise false promises. So you're definitely not the only one who has questions about what is trustworthy and what is not. And now that we have our question, which is how to separate nutrition fact from fiction, let's move on to strategies to address it. The best way to tell if online information can be trusted is to examine three things. We want to look at the author. Who is writing the article? Are they educated in the field? What are their credentials? Are they governed by a regulating body? Registered dietitians, for example, is a professionally regulated profession. It means that we are accountable to the College of Dietitians of Ontario for our professional conduct and for the services that we provide. Some titles are not protected. For example, anyone can call themselves a registered holistic nutritionist. So it's important to make sure that the author has the expertise needed to write the article. The next thing you'll want to look at is the website itself. Who's funding the website? Is it trying to sell you herbal supplements? Or is it trying to get you to try this detox cleanse for just $99 a month? These are red flags that you should definitely be aware of. And finally, you want to look at the information itself. Is the article an opinion piece, or is it based on scientific evidence? And is it just based on one clinical study, or is it based on a lot of studies that consistently arrive at the same conclusion? Are the studies done on humans or animals? And were these studies published in a reputable academic journal? Once you go through this exercise, if you see that there are too many red flags, or if you're still uncertain about something, then it's probably best to steer clear of that information. And in addition to equipping you with a list of questions to ask when you come across information that you don't know whether or not to trust, I would like to also share with you a list of websites you can visit for accurate and reliable information, or for you to seek further support about food and nutrition concerns. First off, Eat Right Ontario is a free service that connects Ontarians to nutrition information online. It also provides a toll-free number that you can call to speak with a dietitian for free. Across the country, we also have HealthLink BC, which is a health information website maintained by the province of British Columbia. Health Canada also has many resources for you too, including Canada's Food Guide and lots of information about food package labeling. Finally, Dietitians of Canada is a professional association representing over 6,000 dietitians across the country. It provides a lot of evidence-based food and nutrition information and maintains a database of its members. So if you want to see a dietitian, you can also access their website to find one who is practicing in your area. Let's look at the next topic, digestive health. Do you experience gassiness or bloating? About 36% of Canadians report that they find it difficult to manage gas. Do you have any other digestive signs and symptoms? Are you concerned about any of them? Or are you just interested in maintaining a healthy gut? This topic is for you. First of all, I just want to say gas and bloating can be normal. Up to about 90% of the air in our digestive system is actually swallowed. And gas in our digestive system can also come from others. It can also come from some foods, beverages, supplements, and medicines. If you would like to learn more about the signs and symptoms that you're getting, you can also visit the Canadian Digestive Health Foundation. They provide a very interactive tool for you to learn more about your different symptoms, such as the ones I've already mentioned, gas and bloating, and others such as decreased appetite or heartburn. I would like to add, though, there are many signs and symptoms that overlap with many different conditions. so don't jump to any conclusions. It is important that you don't try to self-diagnose or to begin to eliminate foods on your own. It's best to see your doctor first and to work with them to figure out what is happening. From there, your doctor may refer you to a gastroenterologist who is a specialist in digestive health or a registered dietitian for further nutrition support. And if you do have a digestive health condition, there are many different websites and support groups that you can join for further information and support. For example, the Canadian Celiac Association has local chapters across Canada offering support for people who have celiac disease and must be on a gluten-free diet. The next common food and nutrition concern that we want to look at is picky eating. Is it a problem in your household? For some people, mealtimes may be a struggle because a family member, whether child or adult, is very particular about their food. And we all have food preferences, and that's fine. But when it's too restrictive, then we risk not getting enough nutrients from our food. So, to get the facts. Here are the roles and responsibilities when you're working with a child who is a picky eater. Adults decide what to eat, where to eat, and when to eat. Meanwhile, the child decides whether or not to eat and how much they will eat. Do not try to reward, bribe, punish, or yell at a child because of food. This will actually make them associate the food with negative feelings, making it even more difficult for them to accept the food and to like it later. It's normal for children to need to take up to 15 tries before they'll accept something new. The key is to really just be patient and to keep trying. A good strategy is to involve children in the planning, shopping, preparing, and cooking process. This gets them excited and more interested about the food that they've just made. An added bonus is that it helps them to build healthy habits and food skills from an early age. And as for picky eating adults, it is important to leave the pressure and the guilt tripping and the shaming off the table. Some adults may have spent their entire lives refusing some foods, so it is natural for them to continue to dislike a food that you're trying to introduce. Be sure to offer the food in a neutral way, and once again, let them decide whether or not they choose to eat it. Start with small portions, and understand that it is okay to need a lot of tries. And let Canada's Food Guide help you. There is so much variety in each of the 4 food groups. For example, if it's difficult for you to accept one vegetable, then give a different one a try. And finally, here are some strategies for everyone. Be a positive role model and inspire your family to do the same. Eat and enjoy the food that you want your picky eater to accept as well, and they will see that and be more likely to mimic your behavior. You can also try to pair a favorite food with an unfamiliar one. It helps to increase the acceptance of the unfamiliar food. Offer repeated, regular exposures. Again, it's important to keep the experience very neutral. If the food isn't accepted this time, that's okay. Just try again a different time. And along that same point, keep mealtimes pressure-free. Don't talk about picky eating at the table. And don't force, reward, or bribe, or persuade an adult or a child to eat what they don't want to. Finally, remove distractions from mealtime. This means no smartphones, no newspapers, magazines, TV, tablets, and so on. Mealtimes are meant for everyone to enjoy a meal together. Now, Eat Right Ontario, once again, has many different articles that discuss picky eating in further detail and provides different tips for feeding children and encouraging them to try new foods. You should also definitely talk to your doctor or your child's pediatrician if you are concerned about the picky eating behavior. You can also reach out to a registered dietitian who can help you with the different strategies to improve the mealtime environment. Now moving on to the next topic, which is stress and eating. What is stress? Stress is your body's response to a real or perceived threat. It may come from something good, like getting married. It may also come from something bad, like getting chased by a lion or public speaking. Now, people respond to stress in many different ways. Some may experience a decreased appetite, while others actually find comfort in the foods that they like. Turning to food for comfort in times of stress is a form of emotional eating. In this case, food isn't eaten because you're hungry, it's eaten because it's comforting and it helps to make you feel better. The concern, however, is that these go-to foods are often high in fat and sugar and often is low in nutritional value. In addition, emotional eating may lead to feelings of guilt and anger, so you don't actually feel better in the end, and is also linked to overeating, more stress, and increased anxiety. So stress is a part of everyone's lives, and so is unfortunately unavoidable. And therefore, healthy eating cannot help to prevent stress, but it can definitely help our bodies manage it better. For example, it's important to have nutritious, balanced meals. Making sure that they're portioned appropriately will help both people who tend to overeat when stressed out and those who tend to lose their appetite when stressed out. And be sure not to skip meals. For example, nervous feelings linked with stress are affected by low blood sugar levels, which may occur if breakfast is skipped. It's also a good idea to keep healthy snacks handy in case you do reach for food when you are stressed out. And finally, you can also try to manage stress without turning to food. For example, getting some physical activity, even if it's just taking a walk with your dog or going out for a game of tennis, can actually help to improve your mood. You can also try to get enough sleep or to talk to a friend about some of your troubles. Limiting alcohol and caffeine will also help you manage stress better. And in addition to healthy eating, you can also address emotional eating by deliberately concentrating on the act of eating food. Also called mindful eating, you are purposefully paying attention to your surroundings, your emotions, your thoughts, and how your body feels. And you do this before you eat, as you're eating, and after you eat. You can try to ask yourself these questions. Do you feel hungry, thirsty, tired, stressed, happy, cold, bored, or restless? And while you're eating, concentrate on the food with all of your senses. How does it look? How does it sound? How does it smell, or taste, or feel? By asking yourself these questions that are related to the food and to the experience of eating, you can become more in tune with the reason of why you're eating. For example, are you reaching for that apple because you feel hungry? Or is it because it's just time for that afternoon break? Because you feel bored? Or simply because it's just sitting there on your desk? You become more aware of your hunger and fullness cues to better understand, and this will help you better understand why you're eating. This way, you can then stop yourself from eating if it isn't because of hunger. And now that you have some more information about stress and eating, let's look at some different ways that you can get more support. As always, Eat Right Ontario has articles that can inform you about healthy eating and stress. To learn more about managing stress, you can also visit the Canadian Mental Health Association. As well, the Centre for Mindful Eating also has resources for people who are looking to incorporate mindful eating techniques into their routine. And finally, if you're concerned about stress and how it's affecting your life, be sure to talk to a regulated healthcare professional, such as your doctor or a registered dietitian. Don't just rely on internet resources. And finally, the last topic that we're looking at today is preventing or managing a chronic condition. A study conducted by researchers from Cornell University found that we make over 200 decisions about food every single day. For example, should I crack that last egg from the carton to make my omelet? What should I buy at the grocery store today? What's something quick and healthy that I can make for dinner? How should I introduce asparagus to my kids? I have a family history of heart disease. What are some healthier options from the cafeteria? Or I have type 2 diabetes. How can I prepare my meals in a healthier way? There are a lot of decisions, and I've only mentioned a handful. It isn't surprising that therefore it can feel sometimes very overwhelming. You want to make the best choices possible for yourself and for your loved ones, but just what is okay to eat? One of the guides that you can turn to is Eating Well with Canada's Food Guide. Using the food guide, you can get a better idea of how much food from each of the food groups you need. As you may know, there are 4 food groups: vegetables and fruit, grain products, milk and alternatives, and meat and alternatives. Canada's Food Guide provides guidelines for a number of age and gender specific groups so that everybody has a different recommendation. And following these recommendations and eating a variety of food within those food groups can help you better meet your nutrient needs. Another guide that you can use when planning meals is the plate method from Diabetes Canada. The plate method offers recommendations on both food choices and portion sizes. For example, aim for half a plate of vegetables and include at least 2 kinds. Be colorful and be creative. The best way to enjoy vegetables is to have a variety. Grains and starches, such as potato, rice, corn, and pasta, should fill up a quarter of the plate. And finally, the last quarter should be for meat and alternatives, such as fish, lean meat, chickens, or alternatives such as beans and lentils. And finally, you want to complete the meal with a glass of plain milk or water and to have a fruit for dessert. And for general information on making healthy choices, you can consult Canada's Food Guide since it provides additional information and recommendations such as eating 1 serving of leafy green and 1 serving of orange vegetables per day. Eat Right Ontario also has a very helpful guide called the Handy Guide to Serving Sizes, and it can help you visualize your portion sizes better. For example, according to Canada's Food Guide, 1 serving of leafy green vegetables is approximately 1 cup. And the size of your fist is also approximately 1 cup. So if you're having salad for lunch, you can just use your hand to estimate just how many servings of vegetables you're getting from the meal. If you're managing a chronic health condition, however, it's important that you don't just rely on the information found on the internet. Be sure to work with your doctor, follow recommendations, and take the medicine that's been prescribed for you. For conditions such as diabetes and heart disease, involving a dietitian and other regulated healthcare professionals can better help you manage your condition. So let's do a quick recap. We began by looking at the 3-step approach to solving your food and nutrition questions and concerns. We started by spotting the problem and by identifying what questions or concerns you might have. And for the second step, we went to get the facts that you need to come up with a plan from credible sources of information. And finally, once you have the information, you can, with the support of your doctor or registered dietitian or your friends and family, execute your plan, and so that you can change your behavior at the end of the day. For more information about Nutrition Month, you are invited to visit the website nutritionmonth2017.ca, which has more information about the topics that we've covered today, as well as some fact sheets and recipes that you can download. And finally, I would like to take a few minutes to promote some of the other things that our health unit is doing for the month of March. Starting next Tuesday, dietitians from our health unit will be on air to talk to you about Nutrition Month for 5 weeks straight on AM 800. So be sure to tune in every Tuesday at 4:30 or 4:20 in the afternoon. We will also have the Nutrition Month Challenge. So the Nutrition Month 2017 online challenge will begin on March 6th. Online challenges use an interactive software which provides you with weekly goals to try. And this year's theme is, or this time our theme is Nutrition Month. It's a fun and free way to learn about the topics that I've just discussed, and there's also a lot of prizes to be won. We are also integrating a trivia segment for this challenge this time, and registration begins today, so don't forget to join. We will also have the Impossible Question segment on AM 800 during the week of March 13th. Be sure to call in and try to answer the impossible question for a chance to win a $75 grocery store gift card. And finally, the health unit will once again be hosting Spliced at the Devonshire Mall on Saturday, March 18th from 1 to 3 o'clock. For those who don't know, Spliced is a cooking competition, and this year we will be featuring 3 teams with local celebrity judges, so it's definitely not something to be missed. Thank you. This concludes my presentation. Thank you everyone for attending the webinar today, and I hope you found some of the information useful. If you have a question, please type it into the chat box, and Jyoti will pass them on to me.
So Alicia, we have one question. With Canada's Food Guide being revised and being reviewed currently, can it still be a trusted source?
Yep, so the Canada's Food Guide is definitely still a trusted source of information. Everything on it is accurate, and the consultation right now is to look at how to make it easier for everyone to understand and to also provide more information so that the general public can, it's so that it's better tailored for the general public.
Maybe we have another question. Which websites do you recommend to find healthy recipes?
Okay, so I keep going back to this, but Eat Right Ontario is a great resource for Ontario, and it actually has a lot of different recipes. They also have this recipe contest for your kids to join if you're interested, and in general, it has a lot of information, articles, and recipes. Other places that you can visit is Health Canada or Diabetes Canada and the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Dietitians of Canada also has an app called Cookspiration, so where you can go and find ideas about recipes for what you can make for all the different meals or snacks of the day. Okay.
So the question is, what is better as a spread, margarine or butter?
So you can definitely find this information and more on Eat Right Ontario. In general, we would say to not use too much of anything because it is a fat, and we would go for margarine because it does use vegetable oils instead of for in butter. It is an animal fat.
And we have another question. So I try to read the nutrition label when I'm at the grocery store, but I'm not sure if I'm reading it correctly. Is there a resource you'd recommend to help me?
Yeah, so Health Canada actually has a set of interactive tools that can help you learn about reading food labels. It has a lot of different, so it goes through all the different components of what a food label is. For example, some of the claims that you might be reading on the front of the package, on the back of the package, what the chart means. So, for example, like what all the percentage values represent and how to better understand the ingredient label. If you have any more questions, please type it into the chat and I can get back to you. All right. Okay, so I think we don't have any more questions coming in. So thank you again for coming and to the webinar. We will be sending an email, as Jyoti said, in a couple of days, and it'll have a survey in it. I'd appreciate it if you could take your time to provide some feedback so that we can continue to improve our webinars. Thank you and have a great day.